Yo, 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 what up? I was about to get the long intro. Trying to answer some text messages and stuff, uh, things of that nature.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. Hopefully, everybody doing good out there, man. It's going to tune in here in a bit, man. Appreciate you guys, man. Just want to jump in here, try to do something, man. I know busy. We try to get in here, to have something, substantive to talk about, man, without doing something just to be doing something. You know what I'm saying? So, what's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much, man. But you just really just point out, man, it's really time for like everybody to really start really trying to talk about things in a more meaningful manner.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because we're at that point, man, and I'm watching adults, man, and like acting like just spoiled children.
hmm hmm
Um, and I agree with you when you're saying, yeah, it's time to talk about things in a substantive manner, man.
Yeah, man. And I think a lot of times, man, we get in conversations that are just about, a lot of people just get in conversations about, I won't say nothing because, it's important to, people, whatever's important to them is important to them. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, but I think that we're at an inflection point, in history. I'll say this, man. One thing I've been thinking about, man. Oh, check out the new bookshelf. I did that. Yeah, no big deal. But but one thing I was thinking about is how, you know, like we still haven't finished the work
Mhm.
from, our elders and ancestors, man. And there are just too many people who are focusing on things that just don't need to be focused on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, we focus on celebrity lives and we're constantly like competing against each other sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, what I'm saying? And it's just, it's just being dragged into nonsense, man. A lot of times.
yeah, yeah, man. Like, I've been listening to a lot of course, leftists, um, and it's just the same narrative, right?
Mhm.
Um, because they need news and they need inflammatory information because inflammatory information psychologically sells in the news cycle.
Right, right,
It's like they're
right,
always trying to find something wrong, no matter what, and not
right.
realizing,
Gotta
even in life, right? In our everyday life, the time that I wake up, I am deciding something a week from now, a year from now,
mhm.
5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Mhm, mhm.
And I have the clear understanding that some of these things are not immediate,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm going to have to do one step at a time. And for some reason, man, I'm watching like grown people that act like they don't understand this with the political cycle.
Yeah, man, just not understanding, like I get it, man. Our politics can be very like, it can be it's slow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Martin Luther King talked about this a lot, man. And other black, thought leaders during the civil rights movement talked about this a lot, about how it's slow. It's a slow process. We didn't create, we're only working inside of the process that's already created. You know what I'm saying? And we live in a society of people who are number one afraid of progress, right? Progress
Mhm.
that speeds up, you know what I'm saying? And we
Mhm.
live in a society that if people think that other people, right, the pie theory that we talked about, you know what I'm saying, where people think that the if other people take a slice of the pie gets smaller or something, you know what I'm saying? So therefore they don't want progress. They don't want progress. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they don't want it to be fast. They don't want it to be, or they don't want it to be fast or no progress at all. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That
Mhm.
is where we're at in this country. You know what I'm saying? And then like you're saying, there's this group that, and the folks in the middle want progress and understand that it's gonna be incremental. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? It's gonna be incremental until you get the people and the processes in place, for those those change to happen, um, fast, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, like you're saying, man, leftist news. I mean, it's draining right now, man. It's
yeah.
to me, it's beginning. It's no different than me paying attention to right wing news. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
So
just
some
draining.
of it is. Some of it is. It's hyperbolic,
Yeah,
and I get it. This administration is boring as hell.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's no scandals,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
and it doesn't allow you to then focus on like, well, what's actually happening in the bills that's being passed,
mhm,
what's in those bills and so forth, because the conversations really should have been, well, we had two Democrats basically put poison pills in the bill.
yeah.
That should have been a conversation because we have a electoral cycle coming up,
Mhm.
and they can be a influence on that cycle,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that should have been the conversation to me.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Yeah, most definitely. And then in the conversation is like, look, get more like get out and vote, man. We gotta get out and change, man. We gotta be change agents. And there are too many people who don't want to be change agents. You know what I'm saying? They're
Mhm.
okay with causing chaos, man. They want to be agents of chaos, man, and causing chaos and um really, whether that's destroying our what we um, determine what democracy is, or just creating apathy to where people don't want to get out and vote. You know what I'm saying? And be those change agents. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just crazy, man. It's just crazy, man. Just get out and vote, man. Get out and vote.
Yeah. Well, prime example was if anybody have a chance to go watch Dr. Oz new campaign uh video that he released and compare it to Fetterman's new video.
Hmm, hmm.
Just sit back and watch it, and you can see the chaos, right?
Yeah,
You got Dr. Oz, who's just complaining about everything is on fire.
grievance, man. Grievance
Yeah,
politics.
yeah. Everything is on fire, and you should just dislike this group. And
Hmm.
then you have Fetterman who's sitting here saying, "Hey, we have issues with, especially with the western part of Pennsylvania, where we need to focus on how can we increase wages,
Right.
how can we get health care to,
Those things don't
these
matter.
people. Like, these are things that can help people.
Right. Right.
You complain, taking the time out to complain about stuff ain't gonna help you.
Yeah, man. And because and you know why the Oz is able to do that is because people will play both sides, right? I keep
Yeah,
saying it and I'm gonna keep saying it. There is no both sides. Stop this both sides stuff.
yeah,
There is no both sides. One side wants to help you and one side does not.
yeah,
That's where you're at. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And that side is not the right wing in this country. This word, the right wing in this country does not want to help you. They do not want your taxes going to better schools because they
Mhm.
keep defunding the schools, and we've defunded schools since Ronald Reagan. And what they've done is what they've done is they defunded schools, and then they turn around and be like, oh well, the schools are bad. You know what I'm saying? So what do we need to do? We need to, they'll start pushing all this privatization of schools, which again will only help, white people or well off, white people in this country.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and then, and so they create this both siderisms, and people fall into it because, people want what Dr. King called an obnoxious peace. right? You want
Mhm.
an obnoxious piece, but you sacrifice so much for that obnoxious piece, and you don't gain anything from it. You know what I'm saying? Like you lose more than you gain just because you want to say, "Oh, well, at least we're not arguing." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Just for the sake of the illusion of
Mhm,
having a good conversation,
mhm.
right?
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
You,
It's an
you
illusion.
allow the other person on the side to use misinformation,
Mhm.
uh, lies,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
distortion. Like you allow them to use those kind of manipulations, all so you don't look bad for addressing.
Mhm,
And this is what I'm starting to see, and especially and I get it because people do call Joe Biden out for that, right?
mhm,
Which rightfully so. Um, but they got to understand he's the president, right? So
mhm,
him playing on party lines at that level doesn't really serve people.
mhm,
And the reason why I say that is um this is how the lawmakers, you're talking about the House and the Senate now. This is
mhm,
how they have been getting away with not doing their job.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, pretty much.
Because yeah, because everything, if the president say this and it's regarding, on party lines, then no matter on which party, he's being attacked for it, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And it's just like, yeah, but the lawmakers are the ones that's been making shitty laws.
Yeah, or not making laws at all. They're
Well,
not
yeah,
like yeah, like the Republicans did for 6 years of Obama. They did nothing.
yeah,
Republicans literally did nothing or 8 years because they had 6 years of Obama and 2 years of Trump. They literally did nothing except pass taxes to tax people and cut people out of, insurance and other social programs. That was it. That's
yeah.
and defunded, schools. That's all they did for 6 years, man,
Oh,
or 8
and defund infrastructure
what's that?
and defunded infrastructure.
Yeah, and defund the infrastructure, right? When that was something bipartisan, right? What the infrastructure bill that Biden just passed
Mhm.
and was trying to get done under Trump, or it was trying to get done under Trump, like, they didn't wanna the Republicans didn't wanna do it.
Yeah, yeah,
They did not want to do infrastructure. Why? Because you know what I'm saying? Because people are gonna get good paying jobs. You don't want people
yeah,
getting good paying jobs coming out of high school. You know what I'm saying? So if you
yeah,
build infrastructure, you know what I'm saying? You need a slave class essentially. You know what I'm saying? To work for poverty wages, right?
mhm,
That's the minimum. And I brought this up with somebody, and I was talking to somebody about how it's crazy how in parts of this country, gas was the same price as minimum wage. You know what I mean? When it was
right, right,
so so every you know what I'm saying? Like, so some people were literally working just to you know what I mean? That money, that $7 an hour was just going to go to the tank of gas. Like,
yeah,
this country is crazy, man. It is
yeah,
absolutely crazy,
yeah,
man. Yeah, just crazy how the people are crazy, man. I won't say this country, man. And I think that that's part of the problem too, in
mhm,
it, is that we create this thing where the government is this boogeyman, you know,
mhm, mhm.
where it's like Hydra or Cobra, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, Joe. You know what I'm saying? And people don't realize, like, no, it's your neighbor. Like the government is your neighbor. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like, these are people, man. These are people. This not some entity that's just willy nilly doing things, man. These are people
yeah.
who are doing these things, man. Human beings. Yeah. So
And, what's crazy is you pointing out something like whenever I'm talking to like a Republican, I always tell them whenever they talk about the government, I'm like, who you talking about, me? You know what I'm saying? Or are you talking about yourself? And they look like, what? Like, no, I don't work for the government. I'm like, no, you are the government.
are the government, man. You are the government. The government doesn't exist without us paying taxes. The government doesn't
Yeah.
exist. It doesn't exist without us paying taxes, man.
But again, that shows that um they have so many people believing. that when you send a politician to Washington or the state house and they push their own agendas and their own belief,
Mhm, mhm,
that it's okay for them to do that. Like they fell into that myth,
mhm.
and and not realizing it's almost like a derelict of duty,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you were really supposed to go there on behalf of voters and everybody.
Mm.
Doesn't matter on if you're a Democrat, Republican, or whatever. You were supposed to look after all of the citizens in your group.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But what you're doing is you're picking and choosing on who you're going to do something for, and you're also putting your own thoughts and emotions off on everyone else.
Yeah, that's the Republican, playbook there, you know what I mean? And Imma make a correction because I said something that wasn't, all the way correct, you know what I'm saying? Uh, we work to pay taxes. I'll make that we work to pay taxes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And so, you that and therefore your work, your labor is the government, man, you know what I'm saying? And folks need to understand that, man, and it is, yeah, look, man, we're we're in we're in some, we're in an interesting time, man. Yeah, man, and time, yeah, we were talking about time, and I was talking about time in the beginning, you know what I'm
we were
saying?
talking
I was
about
watching
time.
this thing I was watching this thing, and it was talking about time and how, we have a misunderstanding of time. We think that because people aren't here, the event that happened back then, you know what I mean, like, it stopped. Like, it
Mhm,
didn't stop. That event's still going on, you know what I
mhm,
mean? And, like, I watch Watchmen, and Watchmen that's what Watchmen is talking about. Watchmen is talking about time, you know what I mean? Like, how time is a whatever happened in the past is still present in the future, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Yeah, 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 man. It's interesting, man. It's interesting, but people don't understand that, you know,
Well,
uh
well, yeah, yeah. You gotta, like, when we're talking about it, think about the things that Andrew Jackson did, right? Well,
Mhm, mhm.
we see the effects of what it did to society till
Yeah,
this day.
yeah,
You know, you go to Reagan, you can go to, you know, Bill Clinton, the incarceration, like, you can see the effects of
yeah,
every
man.
last decisions, and they will those decisions will not go away until there's a different kind of change.
Right, until there's an interruption in time, right? Until there's
Yes.
an
Yep.
interruption in time, right? And like you're saying, man, and again, of course, I like to, I like history and things of that nature. And reading this book right here, The Betrayal of the Negro, right? The
Mhm.
Betrayal of the Negro. And one thing that I found, I was thinking about, I was like, had this country had and it just reminds me of Trump, right? Trump going through his FBI thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I was telling somebody, on Facebook, like, look, man, I don't, this country just doesn't have the balls to prosecute, powerful men, let alone powerful white men.
Mhm.
Um, you can look at Nixon, but the point but what made me say that was that we wouldn't be going through a lot of the issues that we go through in this country had, a group of powerful white men had the balls to prosecute or ensure that another group of white men um, didn't gain power, didn't gain wealth. And I'm talking about the Civil War. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Had those individuals actually came through and said, hey, because there were politicians who was like, "Hey, those people in the South, those folks who fired on the country at an insurrection against, America, they should not gain power. They should not have wealth." You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But they didn't. But you know what I'm saying? But again, like we were talking about, people do this both sides stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know? You're like, well, I mean, you know, it was just a little, with a little dust up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Had they had the balls to do what they needed to do to those white men, then we wouldn't be experiencing a lot of the things that we experience today, man. So that those issues, what I mean, of the Civil War and things of that nature, of the transatlantic slave trade, of what I mean, and everything. The slicing up of Africa. We're feeling all those effects today, man. Everything that happened is happening today. It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
happening different.
It's
You know?
crazy that you say that because literally that's how I think about all of this, right? Because the
Mhm,
breaking point was after the whole Reconstruction. People don't
mhm.
like people don't even realize for about 8, 10 years that
12 years.
12 years that
Mhm.
black people gained a lot of wealth in in
Yep.
in those years, and they were building communities. Like the country was really turning in a opposite way. But what
Mhm,
happened in those 12 years was those people who fired shots against this country were fugitives,
mhm,
which then went to places like Canada and those places. Why they were fugitives until, like you said, people wanted to both sides it and say, well, let's just bring them to the table and just talk to them. Well, when they came to the table, yeah,
That's what this
when
book
they,
talks about. That's what it talks about.
yeah, man,
That's what it talks about. It talks about how people, I mean, like you had to, and see, right when I said my bookshelf didn't tip over, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It tips over, you know what I'm saying? But I'll fix it. That's because I'm being reckless over here. But anyway, the but that's what the book was talking about, man. Like after the compromise of 1877, you know what I'm saying? People start, start try. The South was like, hey, man, look, man, we're all Americans here. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, we're gonna treat these black folk right. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And there's a story about shoot, not LBJ. Oh, Rutherford B. Hayes. Rutherford B. Hayes. So Rutherford B. Hayes, he's touring the South, right? He's touring the South because the South is like, he's like, hey, I'm gonna come. He basically telling, hey, the South, I'm gonna come make sure y'all treating black people good because y'all said it. Y'all said y'all were gonna treat black people good. And so he goes to the South, and there's this one instance to where he goes to talk to black people in this church. And there's a white man or like two white men who are standing in the back. You know what I'm saying? They're standing in the back. And a reporter notices how he basically like watching, making sure nobody says anything, what I mean, out of line, you know what I'm saying? And so the reporter like writes it down, you know what I'm saying? But it was, and then Rutherford B. Hayes was like, oh well, if the black people say it's good, then everything's got to be good. You know what I mean? He doesn't even pick up on the guy standing in the back, or how the crowd is interacting. They talk about it, and the reporter was talking about how people was like looking back at him. You know what I'm saying? Because that white
mm-hmm,
dude was like, I think it was in like Tennessee. Because of course
mm-hmm.
we gonna tell the Klan, and the Klan gonna come kill black folk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know, what I mean? And it's how black people operate throughout the world or throughout America. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
But when a lot of people, and I'll land my plane here, when a lot of people talk about those 12 years of Reconstruction, they miss, and black people having wealth and doing good and all that stuff. They miss one key element of that. You know what I'm saying? And that key element is that white people in the South were being policed. They were being policed by the government. The
Yep.
government was policing them for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
So part of Rutherford B. Hayes becoming president was troops being pulled out of Louisiana, South Carolina, and Florida. And once those troops get pulled out, oh man, it was done. It was
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. That's when you see the increase of
right,
yeah,
right,
you seen the increase of the prison population
mhm.
grew, the lynchings grew.
Things grew. Some of y'all's aunties and uncles who are light skinned came during that time. Like, like,
Yeah,
yeah,
right. Like
yeah, like,
it just.
That's what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? When and I think about all that, man, when people try to like both sides, you know what I'm saying? Again, I had another Facebook interaction. Again, it was somebody, a good brother of mine, and they were trying to add in talking about the FBI thing with Trump. And of course, I don't understand why black conservatives got to do this, but like, oh we shouldn't trust the FBI, because what happened to Fred Hampton and Martin Luther King, and like, time out. The two totally different things.
Or
They're
you
actually
want you
aren't.
want to defund the feds now, or the police? You want to defund the police now?
Yeah, now you wanna come on, man. And it's like, yo, those things are different, man. They're not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They're two totally different things that happen in this country, and we need to understand that. You know what I'm saying? What Trump did was, and the funny thing is that he created a law in 2018. I gotta look into the law, but he created a law in 2018 to prevent exactly what he did.
Yeah, yeah.
And he forgot he created the law. He signed on to the law to prevent exactly what he did.
And for a felony.
Yeah, and now he's like, oh, and things of that nature. But again, we're seeing this both siderisms, stuff. What I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and people like, oh, of course, Hillary's emails and like, yo, she already got investigated, found nothing wrong.
9 times actually. She got investigated 9 times.
Yeah, like, come
So
on.
you know,
Yeah, man. But
and, and and again, like man, just trying to talk to people to have just a little bit of sense
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
that see that we just crossed over in this country in a really dark place.
Mhm,
And if you don't, if it, regardless on if you're conservative, um, or right wing or whatever, what you just did will like the support of that person will not benefit you
mhm, mhm,
because the pathway that is set is the doom of the country
mhm,
in the concept, which means the Constitution, like the democracy, like how you think about all of those things will eventually go away if you keep pushing it to go that way.
right, 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 and you're just talking just careening in the fascism.
Yeah,
That's where
yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly where we're going. We're careening into fascism, and and it's just my frustration with, Black people who are so like, I don't care. I really don't care that you're a conservative. I don't care that you're a Republican, but being Black, you have to know. You have to understand what is happening right now and how that where the direction that the Republican Party, the right wing in this country is heading, it's not good for Black people. It's not good. They're already taking Black history out of schools. They're trying to get rid of Black people who are authors and historians. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are really trying, want to create, Black people who don't have a sense of self, man.
Yeah,
You
did you
know,
hear the guy? I think he was like the board of education or some position down in Florida.
in Florida,
Uh,
because of the law.
yeah, so he walked into the classroom and it was like um, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, um, couple other people that was on the wall. So he started talking about this law, and in the way that he was like quoting the law, he was trying to make it seem like I don't want none of these black people on the wall,
Mhm,
right? But the teacher literally asked him, "Well, why are you taking down all of the posters with black people?"
mhm,
Because what he was what he was saying was trying to use that both sides, and we don't, we're trying to protect the kids so they
mhm,
can just have just a middle of the ground understanding. Like he tried to come across that way, right?
mhm,
But not realizing like people see you literally taking down only the black posters.
Right, right, right. And the way that that law is written in Florida is that it only like all they have to do is just see a picture and makes it, and if that makes them uncomfortable, that makes them uncomfortable. Well, nobody like the only test of that law is if somebody walks in and say, "Oh, there's a picture of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin." That those they make me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's the test. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To get people to understand how racialized that law is and why it was created. It was created so that there is no black or other representation. Only
Yes.
you only have a Eurocentric, slash white representation that's going to get
Yeah.
presented. That's what happened in Florida. You know what I mean? Somebody walked in and was like, somebody simply walked in and said that makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't care if it was Martin Luther King. It ain't gonna matter. You know what I'm saying? But again,
How
people playing this both sides stuff, man. It's crazy.
yeah, and how uh unique I'm gonna say this is of it being a Cuban
Mm,
immigrant
really?
that did so.
Mm.
Interesting, right? Like
Oh, man,
people people need to really have the conversation, right? Because here you go, he's a Cuban immigrant.
he sees himself as white
Yeah, yes,
though. Mm,
yes,
mm,
but again, the conversation should be him, this person. What did he see in these? Like, where is he aligning his thoughts with? Right
it's being
to
Cuban.
do so.
Yeah, it's being Cuban because people understand something about Cubans, man, and Dominicans. To some aspect,
Mhm.
they are very anti-black.
Yes.
Very like they are anti-black, man. Ida Rodriguez tells this joke about because she's like part Dominican, and she tells this joke about her grandmom or something trying to comb the black out of her hair. Because she had like
Mhm.
afro hair. She talks about how she had this afro, and her grandma would try to straighten her hair. That's how anti-black, they were. And I just watched this video on TikTok to where this Dominican grandma, she's black. She looked like us, of course. You know, she has her granddaughter and her no, yeah, she has her granddaughter, and her daughter is trying to hand her daughter a doll that's brown skinned, and the
Mhm.
grandma was just steadily like, no, 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 and hand picks up a white doll to give to the baby. You know what I'm saying? And people need to understand, like in Cuba, and of course, Cubans are very anti-black, even though they are they're our cousins. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They very anti-black, and people need to research Fidel Castro, how he felt about black people and stuff,
Mhm.
and things of that nature. So I'm not surprised when people bring up Cubans. I'm not surprised, man. I remember having a dude when I was in the military. He was Cuban, looked like us. He
Mhm.
didn't. He didn't think. He didn't call himself black. He's like, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm not
So
black. I'm black. I was like,
there's a there's a speech of Fidel Castro literally talking in front of the mic, expressing that we are African.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, but you also seen after that the exile of what they deem as like the white Cubans.
Mhm.
Um, they are the ones who then fled in packing the boots.
Right, they're the ones that came to Florida, there's the ones that came to what I'm saying? And I was just talking to, man, this lady at the college, man. She was saying how she was in Florida and she seen, like, this boat come with Cubans on it. Of course, they're white Cubans. And there's people on the beaches that's, like, had, like, welcome packages and things of that nature. "Oh, welcome to America, blah, blah, blah." And she said, no joke, she saw, like, a boat, like, just down the beach, saw some Haitians, and there was nobody there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? She like, "Hmm."
Wow.
Things that make you go, "Hmm." But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and it's also why I try to tell people all the time too, like, you can't just say Hispanic, like, you really have to aggregate that out.
yes,
You can't put what I mean? Like, you can't say, "Oh, well, Hispanics are leaving the Democrat Party." Like, no, 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 no. It's a
yeah,
certain group. It's a certain group of
yeah,
Hispanics who have always been to the right ever since they came to this country.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And their kids are growing up, and their children, they are not they don't see themselves as anything other than being white in this country. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And that's how they see themselves, you know what I'm saying? No matter they can look like us or they can be, white, light eyes and got, big old afro, curly afro. It ain't gonna matter. It ain't matter.
and look at them boys. I'm an island boy.
Yeah, Island.
you
Yeah.
like they flat out, someone told them, hey, man, y'all white. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So y'all with the tattoos on your face, and immediately when they were told that, they said, "No, we from Cuba."
mhm, mhm.
Right? But again, when you listen with the third ear, you sit back and was just like, see, they they know to play on their whiteness,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the
Mhm,
benefits of their whiteness.
mhm,
But they also know the the factuation of the exotic
mhm.
part, not being from here.
Right, right, right. The culture,
So
what drives culture?
yes,
They know that
yes,
black people drive culture in this country. Like, that's just what it is.
yes,
People need to
yes,
understand black people drive culture, so they mimic it. There are plenty of people who mimic black culture in many, many different ways. You know what I'm saying? We
yeah,
drive culture in this country. That's just what it is. Um, yeah, man. Yeah, man, but yeah, man, so we on here, man. We getting here. We talking about just spitballing right now and stuff like that, man. We appreciate those folks. I know we started this late, so appreciate folks that's tuning in, that's gonna tune in, man. And right now we're gonna try to switch gears here and talk about these PPP scammers, you gotta look out these next 10 years, dog. And of course, Biden, the misinformation around the hiring of the 87,000, tax collectors and what that mean, you know what I mean? What that means and stuff like that. We were just talking, about Cubans and some other stuff, talking about time and a history around, folks, history around the treatment of powerful folks in this country. You know what I mean? This country doesn't have the cajones, the balls to actually do anything. You know what I mean? So, but we're gonna get into this. Talking about this PPP stuff, man. You want to lead it off, bro?
yeah, yeah. So I was talking to some folks of mine, man, and they called me with a little outrage about the PPP and about the hiring of the IRS. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing they were saying, "Oh man, look at Jim Crow Joe." And first thing I had to tell him, I'm like, "You're right, right? We know that was Jim Crow Joe, but what we have to understand, we
Hmm.
got to step back now." I said he 80 years old.
Yeah.
He had a lot of lessons that he did learn. Um,
Hmm.
and we don't hear the rhetoric that he was comfortable saying back in the 60s and 70s.
Hmm.
I said,
Hmm. Hmm.
so when you step back and you really look at the law, I said, how many black folk make 400,000?
Right. Right.
And he was like,
Making.
no, yeah, making 400,000. So he was like, no, I thought it was 200,000. I said, no, it was 400,000. Um,
Mm,
I said, there's a lot of disinformation going around telling people that it's 100,000 to 200,000 because again, black people wages increase. That it's a larger portion of us that now are crossing over to the six-figure mark of
right.
100,000 and so forth. So now that's a portion that can be spoofed, right?
Mhm.
But it's not true because it's 400,000.
Mhm.
So, and again, that was something that like Bernie and a few other people were pushing for. Raphael Warnock, those people were pushing to bring that number higher,
Mhm.
right? Um, and just the different disinformation of when we hear things like that, we have to make sure that we look into it before
Mhm.
we just go along with the message that's just given to us. That the problem was that people didn't think about was in 2017 and 18 when Trump and the Republicans had power. They did not want to fund the government, so they had two shutdowns
Mhm.
within 18 months. The first shutdown, they had 30,000 IRS workers quit. The second time, they had over 70,000 IRS workers quit. So basically, what this
Mhm.
bill does is trying to replace majority of what was lost with the IRS, because
Mhm.
what they understand with the IRS is tax fraud happens at pretty much anything over really 150,000, right? They understand like the more money
Mhm.
you make, the more fraud happens with taxes. And
Mhm.
so when those when those tax auditors quit the government, they seen the number of audits for rich people drop tremendously. And they seen the audits for people that made $70,000 or less increase. Well, of course, that has
Mhm.
something to do with workload, and people don't
Yeah, and
understand.
that's
Mhm.
yeah, and that's what people aren't getting is that, so like you're saying, the IRS, the entity that collects our taxes, they were, so they've been basically underfunded. You know what I'm saying? Underfunded, and even during the Trump administration, it was severely underfunded for the very purpose of, his 2017, 2017,
Mhm.
uh, tax thing. And like you're saying, Biden's whole the inflation, what's it called? Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah.
Part of that is changing the tax code, and in order to pay for the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the BBB with some stuff, the Build Back Better with some stuff taken out of it, is to collect more taxes.
Mhm.
Well, and like you're saying, people have to be very careful where they're getting this information from, right? Because if you're getting this information from Fox Business, CNBC, Yahoo, Finance, or something like that, they are going to be very pro-capitalist. So they're going to paint the picture as, oh, Biden is coming after you. No, he's coming at folks making over 400,000, like every dollar over 400,000. So people need to understand, like, yeah, so if you have a job and you make 400,000, you're okay. You know what I'm saying? But if
Mhm.
you have some sort of job where you are making over for bringing over $400,000 in, I forget what the official name, but I don't want to be all egghead right now. You make over 400,000, bringing it in 400,000 that you bring in, then you're going to be taxed. That's what's going to be taxed after, you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So everybody else, your taxes aren't going to go up because, like you were saying, JY, how people have been able to get around a lot of the not paying taxes is pass through, right? So basically, they've been able to pass the tax burden onto investors and things of that nature, and then the investors, then figure out how to not pay taxes as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So Biden just pretty much like, okay, well, and people need to understand when you see 87,000, tax people being hired, they're projecting that over a 10-year span because they're seeing that within that 10 years, 55,000 individuals will retire
Mhm.
essentially. And I need to work there because them folks make money. I mean, you have to make money. You're dealing with money like that. You know what I'm saying? um, to write in tax code. But the more important thing is that, hiring all these extra individuals will allow, regular Joe Schmo who has something wrong with their taxes be able to get their taxes taken care of. Right now, there's a like backlog of like $10 million or something that or 10 million they have like a backlog of like 10 million issues that they can't process. And so this is a backlog that happened over decades.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get through that backlog so people can get their questions answered and things of that nature. You know what I mean? But at the core of this is people, especially the Republican Party, there's no both sides here. They're really trying to scare you so that you get upset with Joe Biden so that Joe Biden doesn't pass this tax law that is really going to affect, the wealthy in this country, people who actually have money, to get them to pay their fair share of taxes. You know what I'm saying? The average Joe Schmo in this country pays too much taxes. But we just don't have the tax lawyer or the money to go talk to a tax person to ensure we pay enough taxes, you know what I'm saying? Um, so
Yeah.
yeah,
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 you're right. You're right, man. And I think the problem is like because when you don't own a business and you just just Joe Smo, right? You just show up the job, punch a clock, and go home. So
mhm,
you assume that your taxes are the same as a business person
right,
because you just don't know, right?
mhm,
And the problem is when you hear something like that on a simple level, you just like, yeah, you buy into it. But the
mhm,
problem is uh, business taxes are so much more complicated
yeah, yeah,
because there are way more laws that give businesses incentives.
yeah, give them tax breaks.
Yeah, that the regular person don't get,
Mhm,
that allows them effectively to move their tax rate back down. That's why when they have like that 15% cap, well, that was a good thing because what
mhm,
corporations were doing was even if they had a 15% taxes, it wasn't a cap. So they'll tell you, oh, well, there's a 15% corporate tax. Well, what that means is that's where you start out at. And then you get your tax person, your CPA, and your lawyers together, and you find the loopholes that then start
mhm,
moving that 15% downward.
mhm,
And that is how they skirt and get around taxes.
mhm. Yeah, and this is from the NPR. From NPR. I mean, I'm sorry, this is from PBS.org. How the Inflation Reduction Act could affect your taxes. And in here from Judy Woodruff, it says there is a 1 trillion gap between what Americans owe in taxes and what the federal government collects. The Democrats' budget bill that is expected to win final approval in the House this week would unleash funds that could help round up all that missing money. And again, that's because there are a lot of businesses in this country that's not paying taxes.
Yeah.
Every day, Joe Schmo, you go and punch in the clock. You are paying your taxes. You pay your taxes. You
Yeah.
know,
South
it's a lot
Carolina,
of businesses.
they just released businesses that didn't pay any federal taxes in the last few years,
Mhm, mhm.
which literally total. I think it was like I think it was like $8 million, $10 million, or something like that in total.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, like that can help fund like your schools, like school lunches, like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, so, my thing is that, man, whenever you hear this stuff, man, you're paying taxes. And again, pay attention to where it's coming from. You know what I'm saying? If it's coming from, Forbes or something like that, they are the messengers of these businesses and corporations, you know what I'm saying? To try to, of course, you hear it on Fox News, all the time, conservative radio, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Um, you know, that oh they're paying these people, they're gonna come round up and take all your taxes and things of that nature. Look, man. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Oh,
it goes back to what we were saying earlier in the conversation. This is where the whole conversation, if you guys get a chance to listen back, this is how we're tying step by step on
mhm.
what's happening.
Yeah.
And the same thing that Dr. Oz is doing, right? Using hyperbolic information
Mm,
that really it's not substantive information to make you more upset than think.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, man. And that's the thing, man. And people don't understand, man. If the government doesn't collect enough taxes, man, it can't fund a lot of things that we want to get done. Can't fund things like healthcare, public schools, you know what I mean? Medicaid, Medicare, you know what I'm saying? Paid family, for things that we want, which is paid family leave. You know what I'm saying? So when women, have babies and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Unemployment insurance, raise the minimum wage and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So we have to go after these corporations somehow, man. And saying not to go after them is really, again, it's just the wrong move, man. It really is. No, nobody's if you again uh, if you just file your regular 1099 or whatnot, the government ain't coming after you, man, unless you just ain't paying taxes.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, dang. I thought I turned it off. Goodness gracious.
And you know, you just mentioned a good point about family leave, which we just had like um Christian Cinema negotiate to take that out of the bill.
Because she
That
appealed.
yeah, that literally was it was literally a pay for. They had it paid for
Mhm,
10 years. And she wanted it took it out.
mhm.
Um, but again, like all of this comes down to what we need to tell our government to do with our money,
Yeah, with our money, yeah. Mhm.
because it's not their money, it's our money.
Right, right.
And I think Americans really have to get down to understanding that. And again, you have nefarious people who who's on one side because they're trying to benefit from government as they're telling you dislike government, also they can put money in their pockets through the government.
Through the government, right? Look,
Yeah.
Imma say this right now. Go to socialsecurity.gov and see how much you're supposed to be collecting once you retire. You can go see what you will get. They already show you that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Go there now because again, if people don't do what they're supposed to do this November and then don't do what they're supposed to do in 2024, they already said they're gonna get rid of Social Security.
Yep.
And they're gonna do it. They've been talking about it for years, and finally they finally got the balls to do it, and it's gonna happen. It is going to happen. They'll put these little messages out there. You know what I'm saying? It was like with the tax plan, with the tax thing. We're putting it out there, putting it out there. Oh, we're gonna change the tax code. We're gonna change it. We're gonna change it, and they end up doing it. You know what I mean? Which again, back to our conversation about taxes. You know what I mean? Understanding that if you defund, and they've been defunding the IRS for like decades, on purpose. on purpose. You know what I mean? Mainly ever since the passage of the George Bush tax cuts. You know what I'm saying? You know, but they've done it, you know, so that the government don't collect its fair share of money, and the government does raise the taxes on everyday Joe Schmo. Your taxes get raised, maybe not federally, but they get raised at the state level. State and local level, your taxes go up because, again, the federal government doesn't have money to subsidize um, states, right? Which that's something that used to get done. Which, you know, once you get to the PPP, you know, scammers understanding what the PPP loan was for and why it was more beneficial to big businesses or people who had $1 million companies. You know, we're talking Tom Brady, the LA Lakers. You know,
Or
what's that?
Brett Favre.
Yeah, Brett Favre. Like, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, there's some of our people that got caught up in that, man.
Mhm.
And so, you know, part of their Biden did pass two acts. One is to increase the number of or to fund the IRS, and the other is to fund the investigative part of the IRS, um, to go after PPP scammers, basically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to build on top of that, right? Because people got to understand when Trump, when the whole PPP Act got passed and so forth, Trump administration dismantled the investigative part that
Yeah. Right.
would have stopped a lot of businesses from claiming money they didn't deserve.
Hmm.
Which just simply mean like they were already making a profit, but then they're still trying to get more money.
Hmm.
Um, which again, what what a lot of Democrats were arguing at that point of time is to focus on small businesses.
Right. It should have went straight to small bit.
Yeah,
The language in the bill should have allowed small businesses to directly tap into it. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? But it didn't do that. The language of the bill just allowed anybody just to, create
yeah. Because again,
with no oversight. That was the key. There was no oversight created
there
in the
was no
bill.
oversight.
There was no oversight, and that's what was created in the bill.
Well, I don't want to say it wasn't created because Trump dismantled the oversight.
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The bill itself didn't establish, because generally when they create those bills, they establish some sort of oversight.
Yeah.
But the bill did not establish oversight. It
Yeah.
was just like, there's money, this is how you get it. And that's it.
Yeah.
Because they did have the individuals to deny Black people small businesses loans. So during the pandemic, that's why you saw a record number of Black businesses close. You know, a lot of them
Mhm.
didn't get the PPP loans,
Yes.
and this is where, except, and then you do get scammers who figured out, and you know what was crazy though, with the PPP scammer thing? Look, there was plenty of us telling our people not to do it.
Yeah.
Plenty of us. Like, "Yo, don't do it," because we seen the messages, "Oh, if you're trying to get a PPP loan, contact me." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
"Yo, hey, man, nah, the government gonna come after you." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
You taking money. Look, there's one thing I learned at being in the military, man, right? If the military overpays you and you don't say anything about it,
Mhm.
that your check gonna be empty. That
Yeah.
paycheck. It might be empty for a while. I just read an article of a dude, so he was getting overpaid for a year, a whole year. This man ain't say nothing. So
Mm.
they were like, "Oh, you ain't say nothing? Okay, well, guess what? You're not gonna get."
Yeah.
This man ain't getting no check. He ain't getting no money. Look, man. Look, man. Look, man. Again, why can the government do this? It goes back to our original conversation, or what we were talking about earlier. Because the
Mhm.
government is your neighbor, and
Yeah.
your neighbor got a job to do. They got a mortgage to pay. You know what I'm
So
saying?
they sit down and balance their book.
well, my neighbor guy, hey, he gotta go, he gotta go in. You know what I'm saying? And people need to understand that, man. You know, what I mean, the government is your neighbor, man. The
Yeah,
government.
look, man. Look. I don't have no outrage for people that sat back and took the PPP loan
Hmm.
because you decided that, oh, well, this is an opportunity. I'm gonna go ahead and create a business and get my LLC the week before, you know, so I can apply for the funds. But yet, I ain't do no business not yet to this year. Like,
Do no business transaction.
yeah,
You lied and say how many employees you had.
man, man, look, I don't have no protection for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't because it doesn't make any sense. What?
yeah.
Why would you put yourself in that position?
Right, 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 right,
Because we got a business
right.
and we operate right. Like
Mhm,
we are constantly trying to do business,
mhm,
but we had a chance to apply for the PPP loan. We did apply for a local PPP loan. We didn't get it, but
mhm,
we were fine
mhm, mhm.
because we didn't know how the market was going to go, but we
Right.
knew we understood that prices were going to increase.
Mhm,
That was going to affect us. So we understood that.
mhm.
But what we did not want to do was then go to the SBA and then say, hey, we are going to apply for this loan
Mhm.
because the guidelines, people have to understand that we invest in the real estate.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
What if we didn't get another deal for the rest of the year because prices got too crazy?
Mhm.
That was the luck of the draw. And then we have a loan that then at that point in time we had to pay back.
Right.
So with all of those different caveats, it wasn't smart business to apply for this loan. It just wasn't.
Mhm,
Now when they start forgiving the loans and so forth, I,
mhm,
I, I get it. I get it.
mhm.
But if you did not have business prior to, it just was not smart to go after that when they had access to your bank account and your
Yeah,
financial.
and your financial record, and that's the thing, and here's where Imma give a little critique, man, on, you know, for Black people and Black, you know, the Black community, is that, you know, look, man, we can't on one hand say support support Black business, and then take away from the support for Black businesses.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, for me personally, man, for those people who who's just really getting money. Let's just call it what it is. Let's just call it what it is, man. They were just getting money. You know what I'm saying? On one hand, on one hand, I'm the same way. Like, look, man, hey, they just did American enterprise, right? American enterprise is built on criminal activity. You know,
mhm,
at the same time, um, I I understand the importance of Black people who are building a business and the ecosystem that it takes to sustain that business. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? And if there's an opportunity for Black people to go legally get the money, do what they can, you know, go apply for the loan, get denied, yay, nay, you know what I'm saying? And go that route, then you know, if if you took money and then you as a business, JY, didn't get
Mhm.
money, you know what I'm saying? I have no sympathy for this person that's gonna go to jail because they just took money and spent it on a new car or went on a vacation or just blew the money. I don't have sympathy
Don't
for
have
that
no sympathy.
because you did not create an ecosystem. You did
Yeah,
not create a business. You did not create something that helps the Black community. You took.
yes.
You know what I'm saying? Which is also I have kind of same criticism, people that wanna talk about the Joe Biden crime bill, but don't wanna talk about how they participated in gang activity, how they participated in drug, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
look, man, we really have to, like, really understand what it is that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't trying to sound like no boomer or no.
Ah, man, like for real. This is the reflection, right?
Mhm.
The period. Because literally, like my man that called me that was talking about the conversation about Jim Crow Joe.
Mhm.
I was sitting here. I literally was telling him the same thing. I said, "Well, what we doing? Are,
Yeah.
are, are, are we defending criminals in our community, or are we sitting here to a point that the criminals are making a bad reflection on the people that's really trying to do stuff in life?" And I'm going to tell you, man, yeah, I was a part of that kind of life. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, yeah, that's what I was into.
Yeah, but look, just real quick though. I'm not against those folks who those of us who did it out of circumstance, right? Out of
Yeah,
circumstance. I'm against those individuals who just did it out of for I won't say luxury, but they just did it just to do it. You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like participated in it, and it led to just nothing. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But destruction. You know what I mean? Destruction. You know what I mean? Which is why I won't watch certain shows. But you know,
yeah.
that's just me.
That literally was the point I was bringing to him. Like, bro, like this is what makes us sound crazy as a group, because we watching like this destruction, even though like we understand why we have the destruction is because it's survival mode, right? Like,
Survival. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like you just trying to make sure you put food on the plate, but
That's
but now this generation they have a lot of different options, right? That they can make money. That
hmm
that's legal. They just don't want to do the legal thing because it may take a little research, it may take a little studying, it may take this. They just want the fast money.
Yeah, yeah.
But majority of them want to just be rappers. You know what I'm
hmm
saying?
hmm
Like, and
It's not a survival thing. It's not based on
not a
survival.
survival thing no more.
Right, it's based on consumer like, in the 8 like, history I'm always pointing out history, but people need to understand, man, when the '80s came around, the drug game came around, black people were going through, like, historic unemployment. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
The drug game came around, like, at the right time where black folk can earn money, you know what I'm saying? A lot of black people, especially young black youth, and some folks who were young in their 20s, 30s participated in it, to make money to survive, man. You know what I'm saying? But I think that a lot of like you're saying, there's certain people out here who just who do things, and of course back then as well, they just did things just to consume. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Oh,
yeah.
just go buy. Oh, I
By the
got that
big ones,
thing.
the
Yeah, I got this
chain.
thing. But and then yeah. What are you doing? Are you building or are you destroying? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Oh man, I was trying to remember the line from Battle Rap. I can't remember. Dang, yeah, I can't remember. Where he made
yeah,
somebody said a line about building and destroying. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
What are you doing? Are you building or are you destroying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
yeah, man. Because that's like that's what you start to realize, right?
hmm
That that once you start getting in a certain place, you start realizing, like, oh, like these people now aren't doing it because they want to see you be able to, like, you know, at that point in time when we were growing up, to the basketball players, to make sure like he had the freshest gear and he looked the part. That way he can have an opportunity to go to college.
Yeah, yeah,
Even though it didn't work out for a lot of them because a lot of neighborhood stars turned out to just be drug users at the end of the day. But
yeah.
the point is, a portion made it out, right?
hmm hmm
Through
hmm
that system.
hmm
And
The OG.
yeah, the OGs, because they were protected. They like it was all of these different layers.
hmm
Um, where yes, they got the nicest cars, they got this, but it wasn't at the bottom about the nicest cars or
Mhm,
having the flashiest jewelry or
mhm.
all of this nonsense that it's just like now it's just like every time I turn around, man, I'm finding 40-year-old rappers.
Yeah,
And
and,
what
I don't like, I'm okay with 40-year-old rappers. It's just I get what you're saying, though. I get
bro, I was a manager before, bro. I'm telling you, like
and that's what I
you
was
need
getting
to
ready to say. You're coming from the management aspect of it. You're looking at it like, yo, uh, I just no, I get what you said.
it's
Oh, man,
crazy.
that's funny.
Word is crazy. Like, and I
Mhm,
don't have nothing against a 40-year-old rapper either, right? But
mhm,
my aspect, like my thoughts are, as a manager, if 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 you haven't been on that pathway till now, and all of a sudden, like in the last 5 years, or when you just started watching, the last 7 years, and you're just like, oh well, Jeezy just got a deal at 35. Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, you're right. But he
mhm,
also was rapping way before he was 35.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And he also was taking care of business while he was before he was 35.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not, yeah, 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 if you weren't already on that path because the industry is just based on youth.
Yeah.
If you haven't built a fan base, right? You can't like Method Man or Redman. They'll be able to rap until they're 50 years old because they have a fan base. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Rakim,
yeah,
they can have a concert tomorrow. And people show
yeah,
up.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
2 Chainz is like one of the I think creative rappers when it comes to like the unique use of words
Mhm,
in the most simplistic form. Like, but he didn't get a deal until damn near 40.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's like 2 Chains too. 2 Chains are like that too.
Well, that's Titty Boy. That's Titty Boy. You know.
Yeah.
So
Or he
that
didn't
and
he didn't blow up until he was like close to 40.
yes,
Mm,
yes. But
yeah.
people don't understand is that Trick Daddy was talking about Titty Boy on Thug, .com.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Mhm.
You know what I'm
Man,
saying? Like it
I was like 2000?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like 2000. Mhm.
yeah. And
Mhm.
that's what people don't understand. And like when I see a 40-year-old rapper today, like he doesn't understand the journey that
That's
those people been on.
right, 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 and yeah, and I think that probably maybe technology, you know what I mean, give people a false sense of reality, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I could
Mhm.
just because really, a lot of people just like, oh, well, if I go viral, then you know what I'm saying, I'll make it. You know what I'm saying? But really, being viral don't last, man. It don't
No,
last. It don't last. You end up being buffoonery. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just trying to recapture it and repeat it. You know what I'm saying? Just doing the same. You just end up repeating it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't lead to success, man.
I don't want to say that because I like Bootsy, man. I like Bootsy, but
Mhm.
but he is the prototype of buffoonery.
Yeah,
You know
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like he takes the lowest level of thought of us and try to make it cool.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
That right there, and especially at his age, right?
Especially as age, yeah, yeah. Mhm, mhm,
Because that's where
mhm.
it becomes a question. It's just like, yeah, dude, like you damn near pushing 50 though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he's about 40,
He's
40.
he's he's our age. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's my age. I think
well,
he's like
yeah.
oh, no,
So,
no, 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 no. Boosie's younger than us. Boosie's
yeah,
like 30 he's like 38.
he just looked like life took a
He's
toll on him.
yeah, he looks older. He's like 38, man. He's
But
not old.
yeah, but the reality is he never grew up. That's the
Yeah.
problem. He
Mhm,
he never grew up.
mhm, mhm.
Do he have some wise words at times? Yeah, he do.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
problem is when you are taking the reflection of where Jay-Z is compared to Bootsy,
mhm,
or when you hear even Drake even talk to Bootsy,
mhm.
or man, shoot, I even got one even better who's on the lines of Bootsy. Whenever you hear Project Pat talk today,
Oh, yeah, Project Pat, yeah.
yeah, compared to Bootsy, Bootsy
Either
never grew up.
yeah, 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 stuck in their mind. They're thinking that in order for him to be visible, he has to still act the same way, and it's just like, and like you're saying, I think Project Pat's a perfect example of that, 'cause Project Pat, he's out in the community,
Yeah,
and of course, he's not rapping. I think he's like, he's like real
no, he's
Christian.
he rapping, he rapping.
Oh,
I
okay,
think he's
okay,
working on an album or something right now.
okay, okay, yeah, 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 man, yeah, and it's about, and I remember I was telling somebody that, man, like there was a gap, man, like a gap of people to provide guidance, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially in rap music. You know what I mean? There were so many rappers who saw the younger generation, the Yeezys and the younger generation, Lil Wayne and
Mm.
Ludacris and all these young rappers that was coming out in 2000 making so much money. They didn't gatekeep, right? They didn't gatekeep. They wanted to make that money.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So they didn't wanna they're like, "Nah, man, I might be able to get on." You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think Willie D talked about that. I gotta find it. I think Willie D talked about that, man. I like Willie D. Willie D's
Yeah, I
podcast,
like it. Yeah, yeah.
that joint is
He be
pretty
on one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, yeah, man. So there's a gap, man. You know what I'm saying? There's like a there's like a gap, man, and which is why we gotta like gatekeep, man. We gotta bring it back. You know what I mean? We gotta
Yeah,
bring it back, man. Bring the culture back and then
yeah.
back, bring
And
it
to
back.
bring this conversation full circle, right? What people were doing was was exactly what we're talking about with the PPP loan.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
some of these people were creating a business, getting a loan, and then gonna go buy like either jewelry or fancy cars or so forth because they wanted to be rappers.
'Cause they wanna be rappers, man. You know what I mean? And I say all the
Yeah,
time, black, one part wrong with our culture. We have an unhealthy celebrity culture. You know what I'm saying? People forget, man. People forget that rap music was the style and the content of rap music was a reflection of the people that these folks came from. Now,
yeah, yeah,
people trying to emulate whoever what I mean? The people aren't trying to be the reflection of, or you know what I'm saying? People are trying to, emulate, whatever, like you're saying, emulate a rapper, be a 40-year-old rapper that's going to do a PPP loan and go buy
yeah,
PPP scam and go buy some jewelry and don't understand that for the next 10 years. And then people need to understand this with the PPP thing. They're going to be investigating these people for the next 10 years. The money does not run out until 2031.
mm, mm.
Get them passports ready. Get them passports
All,
ready.
all I'm telling them is, hey man, if you got that loan and you ain't do nothing with it, hey man, you might want to go start buying some business products or something right
Bruh,
now.
I'm open up a business right now. Do something, man, because they coming, man. And I already went to the,
You
you
had to
can
have
go.
a business. You had to have a business in place
Mhm.
in a business account. Like you had to
Yeah.
have those two things to
Wow.
get the PPP. So, but to have a business account, it only takes you $500 to open up a business account. That's
Wow.
it.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
in some cases, it may be even less than that.
Mm, mm, mm.
So, what people were doing was getting an LLC. An LLC costs you less than, in some places, $200.
Oh, I see. Mhm,
Then you go ahead and open up the business bank account. You
mhm.
put in a couple bucks in there. You got both things that you need to fill out for
For the
the
PPP.
PPP.
Ah,
That's all you needed.
that's
And
interesting.
because
Mm,
after that, they just asked you questions. Well, how many employees you got? You just say
mhm,
three.
mm.
was nothing there that you had to prove that you had three.
Got you at 3, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No payroll, no, you didn't have to, none of that.
Wow. Interesting. I
You
mean, you
know?
could go to irs.gov. I've already been on the irs.gov website, and they already I mean, they got stories upon stories about, investigations on here. You can go to their, criminal investigation, section of irs.gov, and you will see, latest news from August 12th. Westchester man indicted for fraud and tax evasion. Robert Leonard Booth sentenced to 10 years for defrauding investors. Seffner man pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and that's how they're gonna get people with the PPP loan money too.
Wire fraud.
Yeah, they're gonna get a lot of people with the wire fraud. Um, yeah, man, I mean, it's a ton of these. It is a bunch. That's a lot. It's a
Wow.
lot. So,
And, and and you can Google anybody,
mm,
anybody who got that PPP loan.
mm,
You can
yeah,
literally look up and find out who got the PPP loan
mhm.
in the
But,
United States.
yeah, but like we're saying, man, with, with the way that the IRS was defunded, and I'm looking through here, you can just read through all of the investigations of business owner, you know what I mean? Like, and
Mhm.
these are like legit business who just not paying money, who not paying taxes. So,
Yeah.
so we got to close that gap, man. And I get it from a lot of black people, man. Like, making the government bigger or making that portion, the money collection portion of the government bigger. You know what I mean? I totally understand that, but at the same time, you know, it's needed because so we can collect taxes, so we can fund a lot, especially if you want reparations. If you want reparations, you would be okay with this. That's
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, bro.
Well,
You got
well, you
any?
also have to have understanding of that 40, 46% of businesses in the United States are that employs people are small businesses.
Small business, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So when we
That's
think
like
of like these big
urge.
corporations, like
Yeah,
having thousands of people, yeah, they have less than like it's not a lot of people that they employ in comparison to small businesses.
small businesses, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's small businesses that make up the employment aspect of
Yeah,
of our country, man. Which again
yeah,
goes back to the whole PPP scam thing. Like, look, man, you taking money away from small businesses, man, that we should have been using to raise people wages, and increase technology, you know what I mean, and things of that nature. So those businesses can stay open, man. Those businesses can
yeah,
stay open. Because again, I think we finally got back to where we were pre-pandemic with black businesses. We might be a little bit over that. I have to look. I have to go to the SBA.gov and do some searching. But you can go to SBA.gov and do search, and search and find all that numbers and things we saw.
yeah.
All right, bro. All right, man. You got any last words, man?
No, man, no, man. Hey, man, don't blow that PPP loan, man. You got you got a few. Look, the time is ticking. The time is ticking. If they ain't coming to knock on your door right now, look, man, go ahead and start buying some material. Get your business started.
Yeah, man.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Hey, build that nuclear bunker or something, man, and hide out for the next 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. Sell that Lamborghini that you bought and with the PPP loan and start your actual business. You know what I mean? Sell that chain that you got. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
hey, man.
Yeah,
Start a business, man. Making stickers, t-shirts, something, dog.
yeah, yeah. Something, something.
Oh, man. Just do something, man.
I'm trying to tell you, boy.
I do not want to see more black people being arrested and put in jail,
No,
man. Please,
no,
please, please,
no.
please,
But
please.
but I do want to end on this caveat, man. Black folk, man, you got to stop trying to criticize. Well, Joe Biden's the president, right?
Mhm.
But you got to stop trying to criticize a person like Joe Biden that that is it's just signing into law
Mhm.
what the lawmakers pass,
Mhm.
because he didn't create it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so all of this, like, right now, he ain't being Jim Crow Joe.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that's stupid.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Continuing that doesn't make any sense when you look at look at his VP. Who did he select for a Supreme Court seat? Marcia Fudge is she's the HUD secretary. The second the third most powerful politician in this country is Whip Jim Clyburn. You have and understand Jamie Harrison is DNC. That gets picked by the president.
Yeah.
That person gets picked by the president. Jamie Harrison is black from South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? So
70% of judges, 65 or 70% of judges are women of color. Like,
women, yeah,
oh
black
man,
yo,
stop the bull, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All that Jim Crow stuff, Joe stuff. Like stop. Like we can have conversations around it, but like you're
Yeah.
saying, let's not bring it again. We had a conversation about time, right? And when we said that you have to have a break in time, right?
Mhm.
Joe Biden has had his break in time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And don't forget that he was a vice president to a black man. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Stop the Jim Crow stuff.
Yeah, man, you gotta stop it.
Stop it, man. It doesn't make any sense, man. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. All right, man. Well, we
All
out,
right.
man. Appreciate you
Yes,
guys.
sir.
Appreciate everybody that's going to tune in. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for supporting this, man, and sticking by us. And yeah, man, we'll see you guys. Have a great week and have a great rest of the weekend. We up out of here.
You know what I'm saying? Podcast. Peace
Yeah.
out.
Podcast. Oh my gosh.